Thank you, Sean. Can you all hear me? Good. Mic'd up. So I'm Tom Oulton. How am I progressing? Super professional, as you can tell. Right, so that's me. I'm Tom Oulton, BIM manager at Turner Townsend, known locally as Healy Kelly Turner Townsend, and I'm based in our Leeds office over in the UK, but on projects working on projects around the UK and Ireland. Or should that be Ireland and the UK? I don't know. I've been involved with building information throughout my career, and I've always tried to work as efficiently and as effectively as possible, which is why I'm working with BIM now. Back in the UK, I sit on several of the BIM steering groups, including the UK government's BIM task group. That's a quick background. So this is what I'm going to cover this morning. See the little dotty thing? I'm going to do a quick recap of BIM, what it is, why we're doing it, and how we should proceed. And then I'm going to talk through the role of the information manager. This is quite a dry presentation, and there's an awful lot of text on some of these slides this morning, but the slide deck will be sent out later, so you don't need to worry about trying to scribble it all down in shorthand and that. You're more than welcome to these slides. So, we'll start. I'm sure you've all seen this picture before. If you do a Google image search on BIM, this is always in the first line of results. But it sums up quite neatly how BIM helps us to capture, use and reuse information, as well as the cyclical nature of the construction process. If you want a definition of BIM, PAS 1192-2 describes it as the process of designing, constructing or operating a building or infrastructure asset using electronic object-oriented information. Thrilling. Very good. But what it means is in essence, we still get the traditional deliverables, it's just that now they're generated from a central coordinated virtual model. And this virtual model can be used as a prototype that we can test in a virtual environment to make sure that the building does what we want it to do. And it allows us to try before we buy. So that was the what. Now we'll do the why. On the back of Egan and Latham, and in response to the austerity measures that we have, the government construction strategy was published in 2011, calling for a 20% reduction in construction costs for all centrally procured projects. To achieve these savings, the government advocated the use of 3D BIM and for level 2. Then in 2013, the UK government set new targets calling for major reductions in project delivery cost, time and greenhouse gas emissions, and further enforcing its commitment to BIM. And how do we achieve this? Well, by applying the government's vision of attaining the level 2 on our projects. But what is level 2? If we do a quick recap of the now famous Bew-Richards wedge and the levels. Level 0 is 2D drawings and other project information in written documents. So your spec might be in Word. It could be on the back of a fag packet. But this is kind of the traditional way that we've worked for a very long time, for hundreds of years in the construction industry. Level 1, which is where most of us have been for the past 20 years or so, and a lot of people are at now, where we're still using CAD, but there's some 3D drawings creeping in and some simple models. We're introducing the structured project information and structured coordination processes, where we're thinking about how we bring these things together. This is probably where the majority of the industry is at, who are claiming to be doing BIM at the moment. It's where we are. Then we get to level 2, which is what we're trying to achieve by next year. It's a shift to a 3D model with an integrated attribute information. We've got separate model files for architecture, structure, M&E, etc., which we bring together to do our clash detection and make sure that everything's fitting. We use those to kind of to progress the design and also to make construction on site an awful lot easier. And we've got a more structured process for the coordination, where we get together on a regular basis and checking everything out. And then we have level 3, which is the single shared model across a project team, everybody working in the same place at the same time. It's fully structured information process to manage and coordinate the information. It's integrated with project insurance, it's fully collaborative, which is lovely, absolutely grand. But level 3 doesn't exist. It's just a concept at the moment. If anybody claims to be working at level 3, when you chat to them, walk away. Walk away from that person. They're either trying to pull the wool over your eyes, or they've already had the wool pulled over their own. We'll just ignore level 3. The industry is at different stages, at level 1, level 0, 1 and 2. And this is what we're trying to achieve. And the information manager will help you achieve level 2. But the UK government hasn't left us on our own to figure out how to achieve these goals. It's given us some guidelines. To support BS 1192, which came out in 2007, which is a collaborative production of information for construction, which nobody uses, but it tells us how to structure our information well. We now have the suite of PASs, 2, 3, 4, which is COBE, and 5, which is data security. We also have these documents from the Construction Industry Council. We've got the BIM protocol, and we have the scope of services for the information manager. These CIC documents, when they're applied to the contract, they are contractual and they necessitate the role of the information manager. So these should be applied to our projects. And it's not just the UK government and the CIC providing guidance. RIBA, the Royal Institute of British Architects, brought out their revised plan of works at the same time that PAS 1192-2 came out. This new plan of work is shown here with the two new stages, 0 and 7, which sit outside the old plan of work. This is where the information manager comes into his own and can really add value for the client. And this is how the RIBA plan of works fits with PAS 1192 workflow. Information managers should be involved at stage 7 of the previous project, but this is aiding the intelligent client, because this is our ultimate goal to achieve this, with the assessment of need and then developing the strategic definition so the design team are better able to achieve the client's desired outcomes at the end. And a good information manager will ensure that the lessons learned from one project will be carried on to the next, and to the next, and to the next. Ad infinitum. Yeah. And so, why you're all here now, to go on to the role of the information manager. Cheers from the crowd. Right, so rather than start with PAS 1192-2, the information manager's journey starts with PAS 1192-3. And although the PAS is nominally for an asset's operational phase, it contains this useful diagram of the relationship between the elements of information management. So let's focus on that central column, which covers the various information requirements. So, the OIR, Organisational Information Requirements. Data and information required to achieve the organisation's objectives, which feeds into the AIR, the data and information requirements of the organisation in relation to the assets it's responsible for, which feed into the EIR. I won't read all that out. But that's basically for project delivery. I find it useful to think of the OIR as the organisation's vision statement for their asset portfolio. Where we say, we need this information to best operate our assets. The AIR then says, and this is what we need to best operate this particular asset. So a sports centre has got different wants and needs to an office block, which is different to a school, all of which can be in the same portfolio. And then the EIR says, and this is what we need to achieve the best outcomes for this particular project. So it's vision, asset, and then project. And what goes into that EIR is set out in PAS 1192-2. So, Section 5 of PAS 1192-2 is assessment and need and describes the information manager's key duties. Now there's loads here, so bear with me. It splits into, does it come up? No. Right, splits it into three main sections. So we have information management first of all. So we have levels of detail. The information manager is responsible for deciding at what level of detail needs to be produced at any point throughout the project, and also the levels of information. The training requirements. Are people going to need training on this? If so, what in, and how to achieve that? The planning of the work and the data segregation. Okay, we've got these models. How are we splitting them up? Are we doing it by floors? Are we doing it by work sections? Are we doing it by phase? And embedding that in the system requirements, in the information requirements. Setting out the coordination and clash detection regime, how often and when. So you're writing away, you're getting these slide decks, you're all right. The collaboration process, again, how and when. Health and safety and CDM requirements. That needs to go in there, particularly in the UK. We've got CDM 2015 now, which has shifted the onus on CDM onto the client side of things. So the information requirements now become particularly, relevant to the client. Data security, how we look after our data. Specific data inclusion and exclusion. Sometimes some of the information that you think you might need, you don't need, so you just say, all right, we'll give that one a miss this time. Compliance plan, who's to do what and when. Coordinate and origin system. This is massively important because people can go off doing their own models, but they can be located in completely different places, so that when you need to bring them together for your coordination and your clash detection, you've got one built on the site, one 20 metres up, one 3 miles away. That's no use. So, that needs to be adhered to. And the software schedule, who's going to design what, in, which model's designed in what software. Then have the commercial management that the information manager's got to look after, which is the exchange of information. The client strategic purposes, why the client is wanting this particular set of information. So if someone does say, well, we don't provide that, you say, well, the client is paying, they need it, this is why. Again, software schedule, this is it could be different softwares for how we bring these, we'll look at the information post-design. Responsibility matrix, who has to do what and when. Standards and protocols, how they have to do everything. Contractual anomalies, if there's any weird contracty bits. And then the competence assessment, PQQ, so the information manager looks after this. And changing documentation and assessing the supply chain, making sure they can do the job that they're saying they can do. The information manager is the author of the EIR, which is in response to the OIR and AIR. And the EIR helps the design team meet the client requirements. The EIR will also advocate the use of the CIC BIM protocol. Onto that one now. Anyone nodded off yet? No. Right, so the BIM protocol, CIC BIM protocol, is a legal agreement that is appended to the contract which requires the employer to appoint a party to undertake the information management role. There can be a role that's passed like a baton from one person to the next throughout the design process, or it can be a single person who looks after the whole process from start to finish. I'd advocate that, but each their own, it depends on the particular wants and needs of a job. This document has been designed to be used by the construction clients and contractor clients with an aim to manage the work of the supply chain, subconsultants and subcontractors. It outlines the principal responsibilities of the information manager as managing the process and procedures for information exchange, initiating and implementing project information plan and asset information plan, preparation of project outputs such as data drops, information exchanges, and the implementation of the BIM protocol itself. Right, we'll go back to this one again. The BIM protocol, if we go back to PAS 1192, the BIM protocol has two appendices that form part of the contract. So back to PAS 1192-2, we can see the elements of the EIR that can be contractually obliged through the application of the CIC BIM protocol along with the role of the information manager. So all of these can be contractual. Everything else is guidance. So we're still going strong. I'm going to fly through these next slides. but the CIC have also provided an outlined scope of services for the information manager to help with adherence to PAS 1192-2. And it describes the key areas of the information manager's responsibility. The information manager must establish, maintain and manage the common data environment, or CDE, agree how the project information is to be managed, who provides what information and what format it's to be supplied in, where they should put it and how often they should do it. The information manager then arranges for the validation of and feedback on that information. The information manager is also there to help everyone out and to support the collaboration within the team. There we go, that was painless. The information manager is also responsible for the supply chain assessment. PAS 91, 2013, is the PQQs for the construction industry, which contains this Table 8, which asks for prospective contractors for their BIM experience. It provides a common framework so that your information manager can assess the supply chain on the same criteria. The potential supply chain can be exempt from these questions if they have accreditation from the UK Accreditation Service, or UCAS. As yet, there is no UCAS accreditation, so I'm really looking forward to Dan's presentation in a bit to hear what BRE are doing to achieve that, because I'm sure it's all in hand. So, I could write certificates at the moment on a post-it note. That's what I've been doing at work and just handing them out. BIM Superstar. There you go. They're a badge of honour. Right, so the common data environment, I've been talking about that earlier. What exactly is it? I'm going to give you a boring definition again, thrilling definition now. The common data environment is a single source of information for any given project, used to collect, manage and disseminate all relevant approved project documents from multidisciplinary teams in a managed process. It could be a cloud-based thing, could be server-based. There are lots of common data environment providers out there. These are some, there are others. Inclusion is not an endorsement, it's just these are some. It allows the information to be shared efficiently, accurately and securely between all members of a project team. The aim of the CDE is primarily to overcome issues regarding accuracy and ambiguity and completeness of construction design information. And what's important as well is it's auditable. So you can see what decision was made when and when people are using the right information. It's been around for a while as a CDE, back to 2007, BS 1192-2007, which again, no one uses but should. It contains 4 main sections for information exchange. Work in progress, which is the in-house design team. Shared, where you share your information with other disciplines, but it's not yet authorised. Published is your authorised information when it's been checked off, validated, and this is your information for tender or construction. And then your archive, which is just the archive. And the CDE is a forum for all information exchange on a project. It's not just for sharing models. So it's a documentation and the non-graphical data too. And it's, single source of the truth is a phrase that we'll use there. Right, back to PAS 1192-2. It's all right, we're getting mercifully close to the end now. The BIM execution plan, or BEP, is the main contractor's response to the EIR, explaining how they will meet the stipulations of the EIR. The information manager needs to confirm that the BEP meets these requirements, both pre-contract and post-contract. And the BEP allows for a more robust policing of the EIR by the information manager. How are we doing for time? Fine. Very briefly now, we're going to go on to PAS 1192-5, which is data security. It's only been out a few weeks, so it's all bright and shiny. I won't dwell on this at length, but this is figure 5. You can't really see it. PAS 1192-5 is available free to download from the BSI website. You need to, all of the PASs are available for free, so you can download all of them. But this is figure 5 from PAS 1192-5, and it shows a process map for deciding your data security measures. Most projects will be designated S4 down at the bottom, which is situation normal, continue as you do at the moment with your usual kind of data security and information flow. S1 to S3 are for varying degrees of project sensitivity that should be applied when working in one of the 9 areas of national infrastructure, as they're called, which is communications, emergency services, energy, financial services, food, government, health, transport, water. If your job is one of those, or is next to a building that does one of those things, then your security goes up a little bit, and you have to be a bit more careful. Right. Almost there now. Almost there. So, I've gone through all of that. It can be distilled down into a 7-step BIM process, all of which is overseen by the information manager. 7 steps to BIM utopia, I've got written down here. So we have the organisational information requirements, which lead to the asset information requirements, which lead to the employer's information requirements, which describe the way that the information is to be harvested and used on the project. Oh, I've gone too far ahead, haven't I? The information manager adheres to and implements the CIC BIM protocol, assesses the supply chain with PQQs, manages the common data environment, and keeps an eye on the BIM execution plan. All with the data security of PAS 1192-5 kept in mind. You can see it's all nicely colour-coded. So, -3, -2, -5. So all of that will result in the seamless accrual of information across the project stages, ensuring that at handover and closeout, the client walks away with not just better quality of a built asset, but better quality of information with which to operate and maintain that asset. And thanks to BIM and the information manager, the design teams and contractors get asked back next time by the client when they've got another job. Right, so that's my lot. If you want to get in touch with me about anything you've seen or heard today, get in touch. Email, pick up the phone, give me a call, get on Twitter. So, sorry. Yeah, those are my details. Again, they're in there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.